Welcome to the launch of Polestar 2. This is where we are building the new electric car brand Polestar.
Hei, velkommen. Mitt navn er Alexander Hørte, og jeg er daglig leder i Polestar i Norge. Utrolig hyggelig at så mange kunne komme. Det første jeg legger merke til når jeg ser opp i salen her, er at vi er definitivt nordmenn. Her er ingen som har lyst til å sitte helt ved siden av hverandre, og vi har spredd oss godt utover, men det er bra. Ja, som dere så, 2019... Oi, nei, jeg glemte det. Jeg må jo selvfølgelig presentere nødutgangene. Det er min viktigste og nesten eneste oppgave her. 3 nødutganger på siden her, 1 på siden der, og det var det. Som dere så, 2019 for oss har vært et fantastisk år. Det handler om planlegging, det handler om tilrettelegging for det som skal skje i 2020, nemlig dere. Vi skal begynne å levere biler, som blir fantastisk gøy. Og uten å drøye dette ut for mye, så skal jeg presentere de som har kommet hit fra hovedkontoret vårt og skal prate litt for dere i dag. Det er da Maximilian Missoni, han er Head of Design. Det er Hans Persson, som er Head of R&D. Det er Mike Whittington, også min sjef, Head of Sales. Jeg har vel ikke glemt noe. Thomas Ingenlath, CEO.
Right. Good evening. Welcome from my side as well, everybody. Wow, what an audience. Quite, I think, the right relation. Not us being high up on stage, but really 2 things being much more dominant and important. The product that will be here on the screen and our customers, you. And us really being down here teeny tiny. Right, I wear my Polestar 2 presentation gear. Now, I'm not going to do what I do normally, present the Polestar 2 the way I did it almost a year ago in Gothenburg. What I want to do tonight is actually be a bit more private about what I talk in connection with the car. My memories, my slides, and tell you how special this car is to me and give you a little bit the look behind the scene by doing so. Yeah, I really for quite some time connected to this beautiful car. And there's one very special moment that I remember still very vividly. And this is when in 2016 I walked into one of our rooms in the design center in Gothenburg, and they had just delivered the ready for going to the show, the Concept 40 show, the 40.2 from the model maker who produced out of the data that we had developed this beautiful model. And it was not a fancy stage setting, nothing, kind of dramatic. It was just really purely that model, that car that was standing there, and you have sometimes these moments. It was very clear when I saw that, wow, this is something so powerful and strong, and this design is so iconic and great. I really got that energy and conviction out of this experience to fight for the next months and years as much as we could to get it almost untouched and as pure and close to this data set that we had created into production. At that point in time, this car was not yet what it is today. A, it was not quite a Polestar yet, and B, it was not a battery electric vehicle yet. This was all to be developed through the next months and years. And a little bit about this story. One thing was clear, we had created a shape and a posture of that car which was actually, I say that now, hard to swallow for the Volvo dealership who was expecting a car which is much more clear to put into a category. This car, of course, is not just a hatchback, it's not a limousine, it is something new, a category which is a little bit higher up the feet, a bit more, you could call it fastback car. So for that type of not really yet established body type, there was very big difficulty to put that into any scheme or a line that was existing. But we had, and I said that, we had this brand Polestar at that point in time in mind where we were up to new things and getting a bit of a shake up there in the car industry in mind, and that car fitted perfectly. It fitted for another reason perfectly, because indeed it made it possible to put finally a car side by side to the Tesla Model 3 that would actually address same size, same performance, and would, and I say that now in a very friendly way, join the Tesla Model 3 in the mission of getting this big existing premium C-Class 3 Series BMWs, Audi A4s, and make as much as possible this combustion engine big pool of cars converted into electric vehicles. And you see it in the picture, of course it's a different type of animal. The Polestar 2 is certainly a car that pushes the boundaries of design. I mean, Max will talk about it a bit more. Me being by heart a designer, of course we would not go for a Me Too design, something that we would copy, something that we kind of have seen already for a long time. And that very bold statement was of course something that would accomplish this competition very well. And that's what made it so tempting to go ahead, create this product as a Polestar product and put it into production. It took us 2 years, 17 and 18, to make all the engineering, all the hard work of putting the sufficient drivetrain, the sufficient battery pack into such a compact and low car. I mean, to build an SUV very high with a battery floor, I mean, everybody can do that. But to put a 78 kilowatt hour battery into such a package is a challenge. And we took that challenge on in order to make that car as lightweight and agile looking as it does today. After this 2 years of really tight work together with engineers, we ended up then in that stage where we were producing the first sheet metal prototype series. These cars, they are not now in the production line. This is the prototype line where really the very first 50, 100 cars are done. These cars are, of course, very important. A, to build them as close as possible to what the final product will be. So a lot of the tooling for the sheet metal is already like the final tools. And we need, of course, this car to do one very important thing, and that is crash testing. These cars have been crash tested, and of course it takes some time. Should I get some instructions here? Is that better here? Even more? Front? Wow, okay. So maybe you can see me better now. Right, crash test. Well, you all know we are a child of Volvo. Volvo is one owner of Polestar. And of course, being a child of Volvo, we do not do any compromise or risk when it comes to safety. By now we know that we will get a 5-star rating for the car. It has been intense work to make sure that A, the passenger is very safe in this car, obviously, but of course with this car you have to take care that the battery is safe, means in a crash would not be damaged, and that is not necessarily always hand in hand, that both work together, but we know now we will get this 5-star rating with battery being safe and passengers, of course, being safe in this car. So therefore, this prototype series was, of course, very important and done. We went last year, almost a year ago, on stage and presented this car in Gothenburg to the world. Have been this is a picture. At the same time was Geneva Motor Show. And the Geneva cars were actually the first cars, first sheet metal cars that we went out with public for presentation. And you can imagine what hectic it was to get these cars ready to roll out to Geneva, which was the very first public showing where people could step into the car and touch it. And that was as well a very important moment for us because, of course, it was the first time that we got feedback one-to-one, not only from customers, but of course as well from the world press looking at this car. And of course you can imagine how nervous we were facing the press and the public feedback for the first time. But it gave us as well confidence because we got feedback like that, like, you know, our team star journalists who really, really understood what kind of product is coming there and were very excited about the combination of great design and great technology that we had created there. Around that springtime then, this video took
Jonas,
place.
första körningen med P319. Hur känns det?
Amazing. Finally!
Finally!
This is Jonas Kaspersson. He's the lead engineer for this project, and of course you could see the pride and the excitement finally driving the prototype outside the Hellered test area. Jonas, by the way, he's now close to the production site in China, taking care that this product is going into the final production. So he's for the last 3 months now working there and bringing this car into production. We went to Stockholm for presentations to customers. This is maybe where, in one of the roadshow moments when you as well saw it. This is my son on a cake bike. You know the brand Cake, which does similar story what we do with cars. They do it with motorbikes, and we're kind of brand friends, and we feel that the design and the ambition and the aim for electrification, we are very much brothers in crime here. And when we were in Stockholm there, we went, my son and me, we went and visited the museum and saw of course, the Viking history and had fun there. But I discovered in the museum as well something which made me think. And you know, as a designer, you sometimes have associations which maybe normal people don't have. But when I saw this exhibit there in the National Museum, I had to think about our wheel. And it truly showed to me that we are a Scandinavian design company. And I think that is as well very important to know. I mean, we definitely have Scandinavian design in our genes, and that is what we are doing and making. And talking about Scandinavian design, some people then, especially around Gothenburg, a bit freaked out, like, oh my God, but isn't that too close to what we at Volvo here doing? Well, we are very convinced that the Scandinavian design bandwidth is wide enough and strong enough to actually carry two brands. And I couldn't say that now when I still have to prove it if there wouldn't be history of two strong Scandinavian car brands being in the market, being strong, powerful brands with their own identity and still portraying in the world out there the image of Scandinavian design, and that was Saab and Volvo. And I mean, that is where I'm very confident that with Polestar and Volvo we will achieve the same. Two very individual brands, but nevertheless united in the spirit of Scandinavian design. This image is from me traveling to San Francisco to the I/O, the Google conference, their yearly developer conference where they show the latest and greatest of their developments. And we took the Polestar 2 with us because, I mean, you probably know, one of the amazing features that we bring with Polestar 2 is the first integration of Android Auto native into a car. We are not the only ones who have that in mind. Volvo obviously is going midterm as well into that direction, but there are other car producers as well. And that is what it is all about. It is about getting as many as possible into that game, because we are very much convinced that to deliver a great, good user experience with your HMI, with your navigation, with this entertainment unit, we as a car industry cannot do that good as the pros can do it. And the experience that you will get with the Google Android system will beat anything that's out there in the car industry today. And there was, of course, from the experts at a high interest, but I brought with me now as well a demo, which I will play now and talk a little bit more afterwards, but please have a look at this demonstration.
Play Avicii on Spotify.
Sure, asking Spotify to play Avicii.
Google Assistant can also be used to adjust the temperature.
Set the temperature to 20 degrees.
Okay, changing the temperature to 20 degrees.
Set the temperature for the passenger to 18 degrees.
Sure, changing the temperature for the passenger to 18 degrees.
Sync temperatures.
Sure, syncing the temperature.
Google Assistant also works with the Maps application. So if you say,
I'm hungry.
then this happens.
There are 9 places close by. Vicky's Quesadillas in Los Angeles is 0.2 miles away. Do you want to go there?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'm setting your destination to Vicky's Quesadillas in Los Angeles.
In Maps, you can toggle live traffic information on and off, as well as switch between the traditional Maps view and the satellite view. As Maps is rendered both here and on the DIM, the CSD will give you more of an overview, while the DIM has more of a driver-focused view. Addresses linked to your Google account, such as your home or office, will now give an estimation of how much battery you will have left when you arrive. The same is true for any destination you may have looked up or visited recently. For this system, Google will only download the maps that you need for your journeys. This test account was driven around the Los Angeles area, so Google has only downloaded the maps that cover that user's journeys. To head home, all you need to do is press the home button, click navigate, and your trip has begun. If you want to charge on your way home, you can swipe left on the tile and select the charging stations button. This will then add all of the charging stations near you to the map. It can even show you live data, such as how many of the charging points at the station are compatible and currently available.
So, of course, there can be fancy presentation movies like that where the voice is understood. But the great, or the really, the promise is this system will really understand you, and you do not have to adapt the way you pronounce things to the system for it to understand you. It actually will understand you even with kind of dialect, north, south. That is the greatness of a Google Assistant system or Alexa, whatever. These guys really have so much data analyzed that they really can make speech recognition work. That will enable us indeed to have a much more distraction-friendly use of working with the car. I very much believe as soon as you see how capable of understanding this system is, you will stop fiddling around with your finger on the map or on the screen. You will indeed start talking to the system, and whatever you want, just say it. And it's amazing how many different things the system understands and works with. Being integrated into the car and not an add-on system makes it possible that things like the temperature, the climate is as well integrated into the system. This would not be possible if you add Google or the Apple system afterwards on. So that is why the nativeness, it being integrated, is really important. One thing I should clarify as well, of course, if you drive that car here in Norway and you ask and you say, I'm hungry, it will not send you to a shop in San Francisco. It will, of course, give you recommendations close by where you are. Right. The way of Polestar is, of course, to be very direct with the customers. Direct consumer business is our way to market. And till we have our Polestar spaces everywhere in place, we went on a roadshow last year to meet our customers directly and make it possible for people to experience the car before they are in Polestar spaces. This was Cube Traveling and the great team that took care of the customers there. But at some point then it was as well clear it's time for us to have the first space, and Oslo indeed is the first city where we opened. Beijing was second one, and after reconstructing and building, then we opened in October the Oslo Polestar space in a fancy event. And this is a picture from Mr. Rilén having very proudly the newspaper there, which is a test of the Polestar 2, which made it 49 points out of 60. Very good result, and very happy because the Tesla Model 3, when it was tested, did only make 48 points, so we beat it with 1 point. Of course, we were very proud about that. Now, in autumn 19, it was as well the time when, of course, more and more prototypes were around, and that was the first day when I actually walked out of the headquarters of Volvo, where I had to talk with Håkan, and there was a Polestar 2 standing in front. It was a delight. Still not with the final wheels, because they come even later, so this was borrowed wheels from another car. But I asked then as well to have that experience, and we got one test car, which I then was able to drive myself, and that is the result. I was really pleased to finally, in kind of an open road, be able to drive one of the prototypes, and it really confirmed what I think is very important about this car. It's a real driver's car. It's something that is very rewarding when you drive it, in terms of how the suspension and everything works. How, of course, awesome, powerful it is. You know how electric cars have just such an amazing experience when it comes to that. And of course, the quality of this prototype was finally that good that you could easily detect what kind of great ambience you are traveling in there. Now this has changed by then from producing the cars in the prototype workshop into the real factory. These pictures are from a later test series, which then is indeed in the factory in Daching. And what we did then is go a step further in interaction with the press and indeed invite journalists to join our test drive and get a first impression and judgment about what it will be like, the Polestar 2. And of course, always a big question, how much can we actually live up to the game of competing with the Tesla Model 3. One point that was then indeed picked up, this is a German Automotor Sport who wrote about it in a headline, that the Polestar 2 already as a prototype feels better quality, better worked, better produced than any Tesla in production today. Now, of course, our brand has certain profiles that will distinguish it. And one promise is obviously the quality that we will put into our cars, the premiumness of the materials and the interior, and of course the promise to the customer of relying on the engineering experience, the production experience that we naturally inherit with being together with Volvo. So I think that is certainly one of the big plus that comes with this car. The other big plus, the Android system, I mentioned it already. This is certainly for a lot of the tech geeks one of the highlights, that somebody actually dares to put such an advanced and modern system into the car. And yeah, at some point, I think we all believe here that electric cars will be the commonplace out there. So being electric will not be special anymore. Having such an advanced entertainment system in the car will always be special and a secret weapon. The interplay between design and technology, I think that is highlighted very nicely in this headline. An electric car with design as advanced as technology. Yes, we are a design brand, but not designer design. I mean, of course, for us it's important that the content, the value, and the technical greatness of the car is in there. A star is born. And last but not least, the car made a very good first impression to them. And the journalist can't wait to do a drive with a finished van, and I'm sure that the same counts for you. And I hope we can answer in the course of this evening a bit more of the question, when will be that moment when you will drive a finished one? Before I hand over, just one last explanation. When I had this jacket last year on, I had a lot of questions, and as well bitchy comments about him presenting there the vegan interior and wearing this nice, fancy leather jacket. What a silly thing to do. Now, first of all, I have to unveil it's a very cost-effective Zara jacket. And it is, of course, because it is such a piece, it is 100% vegan material. It's certainly not real leather, what I was wearing there that evening. Now, a colleague of mine and dear friend and somebody who has been with me on the journey through developing cars and designing cars for a long time is Max Missoni. Max is now, from having been always the exterior designer together with me on the side, he is now taking charge of the design of the brand Polestar fully, and he will explain a bit more and show a bit more about the car in this very second. Please, Max, help me.
Hi, everybody. It's very dark up there, but I know you're there. I've seen you coming in. And normally, we talk a lot to press, we talk a lot to people at car shows, but I just realized that this is probably, especially for this car, the first time that I talk to so many customers or potential customers. So that makes me even more excited, but also a bit nervous, because of course I hope you like this car. Great. So I will tell you a little bit about how the whole thing started. And Thomas mentioned this transition. And the design for this car came from a process where the team at Volvo was designing the next V40. That was the idea, and that was the thinking. But at that time, in this transition to electrification, it was clear that we felt the energy in the team that just repeating the same type of body style and same type of cars, as Thomas said, like slotting them into certain positions in a portfolio, didn't really make so much sense when it came to electrification. So the team was working, and there were some good ideas, but then there was this one key sketch of one of our guys where both Thomas and myself, when we saw it, I remember that day when we saw that sketch of this very unique creature, and we got really excited. That happens to us sometimes. That's part of the profession. I get very emotional then when I see something where I'm first not sure what it is, and then I just fall in love with it. And that's one of those cases. So this was a sketch, and here are some more sketches from that very designer, who then was picked by us to go ahead to work on this car and to create this wonderful creature. So when we say a confident creature playing to its own rules, what does that actually mean? We talk about it a lot. It's partially the stance and the body of that thing, because it is easy to do an SUV. It is fairly easy, not so much with electrification, but in general to do a little sedan. But this car is something else. So first of all, it has this very, very powerful body, but it still has a sleek fastback silhouette, which means on the one hand you have this in-command seating position, like in an SUV. You sit higher, you have an overview of the street. It's a really confident and comfortable feeling in the city. But you have that silhouette, that sleek line, that fastback line, that is not only good for aerodynamics, as we know, so it gives you a more range, but it also is a more responsible statement as such than a just full-fledged SUV. The second thing is you will have noticed it. There is a sort of a visor design to this car, which gives it this cockpit feeling in the exterior. We really like that, and it adds a lot to the character. And then we have something that we call stance. And if you see that in the Oslo space, for example, the car, it will not appear to you so much. Of course, you can intellectually understand it, but once you see this car now, if you focus on this thing, once you see this car in the street, because that's not it, it's like this. Did something happen? Yes. So this is what the car really looks like. So the wheels come out. It's such a beefy, powerful object. And when you see it whizzing around here in Oslo or everywhere else, you will remember my words and understand that this car is a different animal. On top of that, we have quite an intellectual approach to design. And in this car, it's what we call bold graphics. So things are contained, things are logical. There's not just lines and bits and pieces for emotion. Everything makes a lot of sense. So here, this is one of the front details of the car. Where the fog lamp sits in, and it's a piece of design, a piece of art in itself. Another example that is really dear to me is the rear lamp. There should be a red line whizzing up. Yes, here we go. You see so many stylish little face-like creature rear lights in cars when it comes to exterior design, but we were so consequent in going horizontal, vertical, horizontal. So, I mean, it will be, and it is already an icon out there in the design world, or in the car world, really. But if you do these kind of strong lines and these very geometric shapes, and you forget about the sensual surfacing in between, you will not get this emotional impact that car has to us and hopefully to you. And we made really sure that we apply all the knowledge and all the experience we have in design in sculpting the surfaces like they are in beautiful Italian sports cars, but then combined with this very logical, very timeless graphics. one more example that you will see here. This is a detail on the bonnet of the car. And again, it feels extremely sensual, it feels extremely nice, but it's a very logical and contained. So something we're very proud of in the exterior. And now I have a little movie that conveys that message even more. Please enjoy that for a couple of seconds. And you know, before I go to the interior, I just wanted to say something that just came to my mind when I saw this film. If you go out there and you see cars parked, you will see that there can be features and things that don't immediately make sense to you and look a little bit weird. And that's often because that wasn't an intention by the designers from the start, but in the process, there was just a necessity from engineering point of view or from some legal point of view to just put some volume there, and people had to work around it. And that's what Thomas referred to earlier, that we spent years fighting in order to keep that car the way it is, and you will not find anything, and we can bet on that. We can buy you a beer if you find something on this car that doesn't make sense and still has an emotional, beautiful message to it. So interior design, obviously the process is very similar when we start. The guys sketched on some iconic sculptural base shapes. They work always with sculptures in the beginning to understand the general message of it. And in this case, there is a loop running around the instrument panel. I have a pointer here, I think. A loop that runs around here. It's hard to point from that angle. The instrument panel, and there's a second deco surface in that loop. That's a beautiful thing. If you think of normal dashboards, there might be a deco surface, but there's a fabric surface in there that correlates to the speakers and doors. And then the second big thing about this interior is the high tunnel in the center that cradles the window to our technology. And the window to the technology obviously is the 11-inch touchscreen, the vertical portrait style for navigation touchscreen in the middle. And then we have a second horizontal screen in the driver display area behind the steering wheel. And it needs to be mentioned, Thomas talked about it, but it needs to be mentioned what one of the biggest character traits of the car is the way how you can interact with it. And Google Android Embedded makes it possible. We have the Google Assistant, we have Google Maps as the main or as the navigation system, and then bit by bit the Google Play Store will be filled with apps that you can use in that car. A very exciting thing. But at the same time, we didn't want to just focus on technology and say we have a screen in it, so forget about everything else, that's it, that's cool. But we made sure that, again, we use our skill and our experience to bring beautifully crafted, intricate details into the interior. So this, for example, is the gear lever. It's open in the middle. It has a space in the middle, and there's a little Polestar that only lights up. We call it hidden until lit, so it only lights up when you basically start the car. So it's lots of these details and features that are fantastic. There's the center console with this black gloss surface that the gear lever sits in, and with in this case, a wood deco that is backlit, so the gloss surface feels hovering, like floating in that console. So there's a lot of there are a lot of design details that you will discover in the Polestar 2. what we made sure, and you can see that on our website as well, we made sure that the combinations of exterior colors, interior colors, and materials are such that you basically cannot go wrong. So they're always going to be in a tasteful combination. It's a very easy process to configure your car. We have vegan material as standard, so the upholsteries are vegan. There's one leather option that you can choose. But in order to get the quality and the excitement to vegan materials, we had to look for inspiration somewhere else. So in this case, it was sportswear and outdoor equipment that led to things like the upholstery having this special material quality, this grain, and this little bugger here is a button that is obviously inspired by fashion, but it's a button that holds the pattern for the Harman Kardon speaker system, which lies in the door, as I said, under this deco material, the fabric material, which correlates to the IP, to the instrument panel. So again, a very, very nice, beautiful composition. I have an interior movie here, and after that, I will hand over to Andrew.
Thank you, Max. Welcome, everybody. I'm Andrew. I was going to say, as Alex said, I'm Andrew, but he didn't quite get around to introducing me. No problem. Us comms guys aren't backwards at coming forwards, so that's not a problem. I want to extend a personal welcome to everybody here and also to everybody who is watching online today. We got loads of questions from you guys when we announced this event, and we really wanted to take some time to answer those questions and to really start a bit of a conversation. And so what I'm going to do is try and now really sort of direct a conversation around the most popular questions that came from all of you. It's fair to say that there was also some really individual questions. Questions like, could I fit a contrabass or a double bass into the back of a Polestar 2? And unfortunately, I'm pretty sure we're not going to get to all of those. Well, I guess that answers that then. Right, without any further ado, let's get the gang down onto the stage here. Firstly, Thomas, Max, Hans, and Mike. Round of applause, come on. Okay, so question one, the most asked question from everybody before the event. To Thomas, when will final order conversion process begin, and how's it going to work?
Right. Now, today is not only a special day because we have that event here in Oslo together with you. It's as well a special day because, indeed, today we started the conversion in 2 markets, Sweden and in Norway. So since a couple of hours it's live, the conversion from pre-orders into real orders is going to happen, and we do that in a, I think, very fair and special way. Mike, if you help me there.
So today for the Norwegian market, for many of you and your colleagues, so we issued the first 300 links, emails to you to go on and finalize your order. You probably saw me check the numbers, Thomas, just before we came on as the sales guy. And just over 60 of you, and some of you in the audience have already finalized your order today. So thank you once again for your trust in our brand and our product. So we are now fully on sale, and over the course of the next couple of days, those who didn't receive your link today will get a link. You'll have the opportunity to prioritize your order, and then we'll secure your production for you.
So maybe to make that clear again, so first it's only open to the people who did a pre-order, so nobody else can get in there. So you have the priority to convert into a real order, and then after that, when that period is over, then it will be open to everybody.
Yeah. Fantastic, which leads us to the next obvious question, which is, so when is this car going to arrive?
So the simple answer is, as soon as we can get the supply from the production factory, then again we will prioritize supply to all of you that placed a reservation and now complete your final order. The first cars are on track and scheduled to arrive by mid-year, and then we will prioritize the supply of those cars to you in market based on the fact that you placed a reservation with us and complete your order. So by mid-year, the first cars will arrive, and we will hand them over to you as quickly as we get them.
Hans, talk to us a little bit about the vehicle's range.
Range, yeah, that's an very common question. And I like to come back to what Max talked about first. This really beautiful fastback in the compact segment we have. I like to look at it like it's a complete package of many things. It's a pure electric vehicle with a real nice seating configuration, both in front and rear, still a decent luggage and so on, and still we have room for 78 kilowatt hours battery. And I really think that is a really nice, not compromise, a mix of things that are valuable for us, for customers like you. And the 78 kilowatt hour battery has a usable energy of 72. And in Norway, I'm sure that will be filled with clean, green electricity, and the 72 kilowatt hours will 470 kilometers.
Talk to us a little bit about charging.
Charging, I love charging. EV cars is about charging, I think. We have a very flexible way of charging this car. We have an onboard charger of 11 kilowatt. That is three-phase 16 amps. If you have the possibility to have that at home, three-phase 16 amps, and have a wall box, which I recommend, then that is a really nice way to charge. You will get 50 kilometers in an hour or so. Convenient. I think many of you know if you drive EVs today. Don't have that possibility. Maybe at work or so there is one phase 32 amps, but the charger we have is very flexible, so then I need to swap over to one phase 32 amps, which is about 7 kilowatts or so. So it's a really nice way to charge at home, at work, or that's where most people charge, about 80%, I guess. Long trips, you need to charge faster. And then we have an CCS Type 2 combo EV charge port, and we have upgraded everything involved in DC charging up to 150 kilowatts. So that's what we aim for.
We'll offer to our customers the free access, the free membership to this. And by doing so, I think with the combination of the two, you should have a very, very high percentage of easy access, and of course then with the great knowledge behind the Google system as well, easy finding of these public charging stations.
Perfect. So why does the car still have two screens, Max? Come on, I mean that's pretty last year, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we have. It's a safety feature most of all, but we have two areas in the car. One is straight in front of you, which we call the now area. So that's for legal information, that's for very urgent information that you need right away. You don't want to take your gaze or your view off the street. So that's in the driver display area in front of you. And then we do have the second area with 11-inch touchscreen for the whenever tasks, if you don't use voice control, but there it's slightly remote. So we really believe that's a very good setup.
Yeah. I'm always tempted to go in there as well because, you know, of course, it's hip and cool to just do one screen. And of course, we could have done that as well. But the compromise that you do is trying to squeeze all the information that you need as a driver as well as all the entertainment information into one screen. It is just simply not as much of an overview and as safe as having a display for the driver relevant information in front of you. But it is as well an emotional thing. If you drive in that car steering wheel, and especially in the night when it's black behind there, it's such an empty feeling. It's more driving like in an MPV. Driving really in this personal driver-oriented car, having your information in front of you, and that kind of embracing your driving action is an element of premium driver car, which I think I would really not like to miss in the car that I would purchase.
So you mentioned on a couple of occasions there, both of you, safety particularly. And is there anything else that sort of leaps out in terms of the equipment and the approach that we've taken around safety?
Yeah, safety, I have to spin that a bit further now. I talked already about, of course, us not making compromises, us not never ever doing that as a child of Volvo. In the development of this car, of course, there is something specific now that comes with a battery in the car. You do not only have to protect the passenger, you have to as well protect the battery to being damaged in a crash. So of course that is what has been taken care of heavily by the engineers to make sure that in any kind of front side crash, this battery stays untouched, and whatever crash zone you need, you do before you reach that battery. That indeed has a bit of a consequence for the passenger. You cannot, for example, in a side crash, use all, I call it now deliberately a bit softness in the structure in order to take the hard impact away from the customer. So that is where we actually had to do something very unique and special to make both happen. A, protect the battery from being damaged, and B, protect the passenger. And for that reason, the Polestar 2, it's not a world first, it's the second car that comes out with standard having this far side airbag in the seat. So the seat has not only the one airbag that you know already and a cushion towards the outside, it has as well an airbag and a cushion towards the tunnel, both seats. And by that, when you have a side crash and you of course you are thrown a little bit in that direction, it prevents the two people hitting the head into each other, you being hurt by anything there. So you're really cocooned, front, side, everywhere there is an airbag now cocooning you and protecting you. So that is indeed a feature we have not talked about that much in the Polestar 2, but this is one very good example of how much we cherish that, and indeed we know by now that we will get to the 5-star rating, of course, with this car.
Perfect. So where will Polestar 2s be serviced? This has been another topic of great conversation.
You look at me, so it's
Yeah.
me indeed.
Yeah.
Now, while we of course have that goodie in our legacy here being connected to Volvo, that indeed we do not have to build up all the service network from scratch. We will have contracts with a sufficient network of service places, workshops, and places where cars can be serviced and repaired. That is with the Volvo network. And you again do not have to go there. You can if you wish, but the normal process is that instead of you, for example, getting a notification in the instrument, it's time for service or whatever, that is not happening. That is what we get, and we then arrange and contact for you your car being serviced. So you would be contacted from us, asking, is next week or in a month when is a convenient time for you, that we pick up the car, we take it to the service, and then you get it back. Mostly, within that day, and you will not even have noticed it. So this is the service promise and offer that comes with the brand. Of course, if you rather do that yourself, of course, you can bring the car to the service. But then again, on the other end as well, any extraordinary problem that might occur or repair that is needed, this is, of course, where we indeed will have a very sufficient network that is provided and linked to the existing Volvo network.
Great. We hear a lot about software updates. What's the situation around Polestar 2, Hans?
Yeah, software updates is also something that is out there today. We know Tesla have software updates. I think that belongs to new modern EV cars should have that. We see it on the phones and other devices as well. And so, of course, we would like to do the same thing, and we will offer software updates over there, both for car features and for entertainment features. So, yes, we will.
Fantastic. Should people then be worrying, because we've created this really deep relationship with Google? Does that mean that we're just going to be shipping the data away? Maybe one for Thomas.
I'm afraid you let me answer that. No, we will, of course, on one hand, offer what you know by now with your phone. We all can go in and switch it all off so that whatever, there is no communication of data out of your phone without you not only knowing, you just simply stop it. That generally will be able, you not signing into the account, you can for each and every app individually switch off the data going out. Having said that, of course, we all know for the car offering certain convenience, certain services, it has to be intelligent, it has to know certain information about where you are, where are you going, in order to actually offer you this great new artificial intelligence where you think, wow, is that class smart? Now, if you want to use that, you have to enable a certain amount of information, sharing it with us. But of course, we guarantee that this data is not leaking out or going out to third parties. And anyway, we handle this data to a high degree, totally anonymized, so that we just use it exactly for that one purpose, and that is to offer you the convenience that you can actually have with this fully connected car, and enjoy that. Once again, if you do not trust that, if you don't want that at all, you can switch it off completely.
Great. So we'll change direction completely now. One of the benefits of a dynamic vehicle is a tow bar available, Max.
Yes, the car has an electrically deployable tow bar as an option. And Hans, maybe you want to say something about the capability of it?
Yeah, the tow bar is capable of 1,500 kilos towing if you have a braked caravan, which I think is class leading in EV segment for this size. I'm not 100% sure, but it's definitely really good, and I'm really proud of having that offer, especially up here in the Nordic countries. We love to have these caravans.
Cool, and I see it sitting on ice. So from a tyre perspective, is there the opportunity to have studded tyres?
Yes, there will be studded tyres available for the car.
Fantastic.
But then can I also say one thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, studded tires are good, especially up here for certain reasons, but also remember these cars have constant four-wheel drive. So there could also be, depending where you drive, unstudded versions, which will be sustainable.
Great. Gonna test drive one.
Well, yeah, this is definitely the most frequent question that I receive and my teams in the markets receive about test driving the product. We had the same for Polestar 1, incredible excitement about getting behind the wheel and driving the product. So it's another significant priority for me and the team. We've secured, obviously, a fleet of test drive cars for every market, including the market in Norway. Again, they will be arriving mid-year, towards the end of May, early June. We're now planning on how we make those cars available to you as quickly as possible through online booking systems, and we will contact you to prioritize the ability to come and drive our fantastic car. So it's a big priority for me. As soon as I have cars in market, I'll make them available to you to come and drive the product.
Great. And now a bit of a quick fire round. Now I've got you in my sights here. Briefly, purchase options.
Yeah, well, the key thing with purchase options, discussing again with customers, both private customers and of course corporate customers, is flexibility. Every individual has different circumstances, different ways in which they want to purchase or finance or use a vehicle. So when you go online on the system, when your link comes through, you'll see that we have a suite of different options available. Anything from using your own funds, your own savings, buying the car cash, to a range of options such as a car loan, which I know is very popular within Norway. And then, of course, private leasing options, where you'll have flexibility to choose how long you want the car for, the mileage, how much money that you may want to put down as a down payment deposit on the car, ranging from nothing up to 20-30%, depending on your own circumstances. So there will be a suite of options for you to choose from, flexibility in terms of how you can own and utilize a vehicle. And of course, moving forward, we'll build in even more flexibility and options for owners and potential owners of the car. So flexibility is key. We'll listen to your requirements and build those into the purchase options for the car.
Great. And what about warranties?
I guess there's kind of three real warranty areas to talk about. So firstly, the warranty on the battery, which is 8 years or 160,000 kilometers, whichever one of those comes first. Then, of course, there's the warranty on the car, which in Norway is 5 years or 100,000 kilometers, again, whichever comes first. And then finally, all manufacturers have a warranty on the paint or the corrosion of the bodywork, and that is 12 years. That's a global warranty standard for us. So the warranties are very, very strong on our products.
Wonderful. So that was kind of sort of the most popular, the Pareto of the most popular real product-based questions. And there was also some questions, I think, perhaps, which we'll continue in the live session afterwards. But really getting a bit of a thought from you guys as you're here. So a couple of broader questions that just talk to this journey, where we've been and where we are today. Starting with Thomas, what's your favourite Polestar 2 feature?
I would love to finally sit in a car and not having to pull out my phone and to do the search for where I want to go on the phone, because it's so slow to do it there. To finally just simply, say the restaurant or theater you want to go to, and not having to know the street name or whatever. I'm really happy that finally we have that opportunity in a car. So that's great. Of course, love the performance spec, the looks of it. So I'm really looking forward to driving a black Polestar 2 with the golden details.
Great. Max?
Yeah, for me, when you say feature, for me, it's probably the character. I know it's not necessarily a feature, but it's the character of that creature. It is this very unique feeling that the car conveys.
Hans?
For you guys who know me, I'm almost a little EV nerd. I've been waiting for these EV cars, electric cars, to come for a long time. I've been working hard to actually get to this. So my very feature of this car is Polestar 2. Actually, now they are here. Now we can start to change all these fossil cars to EV cars, and the feature is called Polestar 2.
Great. Same question to Mike.
I feel a little bit torn with the answer, because I have a 4-hour journey ahead with Max. I feel I have to say design of the car, because that will make the journey far more pleasurable. But having driven lots and lots of different premium cars, as I'm sure many of you have, my biggest frustration has always been the sort of functionality of the vehicle. Maps that don't take me where I want to go, voice activation that never ever understands what I say. So I'm really excited about the technology, the Google Android embedded that we're putting in the car, because I know that's going to make my life much, much easier. So I would have to pick that. But Max, I love the design too.
Amazing. And then, kind of lastly, what are you most proud of from the journey so far? And maybe start with you, Mike.
I think for me, it's the establishment of the retail footprint, the Polestar spaces that Thomas mentioned earlier. So hopefully most of you have been to the Oslo space. If not, please do go and pay a visit. And of course, we have one in Beijing and many more that are now being planned and then built around the world. And that's really where I guess our brand, our products, and our people all come together. So certainly being at the opening of the first two was a really kind of proud moment for me and the team. And seeing just how many people are going in and experiencing our brands even before they can drive the products, probably got to be the proudest moment for me, putting us on the high street.
Fantastic. Hans.
Yeah, what I'm most proud of is the fact that this feature I talked about is within, and for many people, an affordable electric car as well. And that's I'm really proud of, because that's not easy to make affordable EV cars with a really premium look and touch and feel. And I'm proud of that.
Great. Max.
I think the fact that we managed to take the product, as in Polestar 2 in this case, into a design language that it becomes a unique Polestar design language. We're proud and happy that there are some references to Volvo, because we want to link the two brands. That's also establishing the trust out there. So we're using design there as a carrier also for this trust. But the Polestar 2 has very few, if any, carryover items in the visible area, and it's a uniquely Polestar design.
Great. And
yeah, the proud moment is not there yet, because for me it's always the real moment of satisfaction is when you finally, out of the blue, unexpected, see a car driving through the town or wherever, where you kind of feel like, oh yeah, that I've been involved with that. And of course, as long as the Polestar 2 is not driving around, that moment is not there yet, so that is still ahead. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing a couple of them cruising around here in Oslo and everywhere.
Brilliant. Wonderful.
Thank you, Andrew. You've asked all the questions. What's your proudest moment?
What's my proudest moment? I think I'm super proud of being part of a team that has created this wonderfully dynamic product. These cars are an absolute blast to drive, and I think it's fantastic that we've created something that's going to really put a smile on people's faces regularly. There's going to be a smile on people's faces when they get out of this car, and I think it's going to really change the perception and continue to change the perception of electric cars in the marketplace. I just think it's just absolutely fantastic. Thanks for putting me on the spot. Wonderful. So it wouldn't be right to come here. We've only got a few minutes, but it wouldn't be right to come all the way here and to chat with you guys and not allow a few live questions. I hope we've covered most of the sort of product stuff, but we've got the team here, and we're going to ask one question. The final question will come from the gang on the live stream too. So we've been collecting your questions. Thank you. So yeah, has anyone got a question? And we'll answer one or two if we can. Or have we answered everything you could think of?
Og så skal jeg prøve å ikke kaste den her alt for hardt på noen. Men
There's a hand over there.
Up there.
Alex.
ok, er vi klare? Jeg tør nesten ikke.
Danger.
Send videre, ja, kast den bakover, så...
Is it on?
Yeah.
Right. So I've got this one question, and I've searched all over the internet for it, and I've asked all my friends, and no one can give me a straight answer, so perhaps you four can. What's the best color?
We've only got a few minutes.
We could discuss this way.
We have 4 colors and 4 guys on next stage.
Yeah.
So perfect.
Do you want to start?
Yeah, I mean, super personal, but of course, I outed myself already, saying that I'm looking forward to that black Polestar 2 with the golden details. So that would be my recommendation.
We're going to have to ask Max too. I can't possibly let that one go.
Yeah, I've picked mine already. I'm going to go for the classic white and black interior.
Great. Hans, what's yours order?
Black on black.
Okay.
Thunder grey.
Thunder.
Oh yeah, thunder is great.
Very good. That's what I'd have gone.
But one thing about colors, I mean, you might have noticed that indeed when you go into the Polestar webpage, you do not find 14 or 16 or 18 different colors. We have a very limited choice. And it's not like we would not have that many spray pipelines in a factory. It's really about having made a choice of colors where we feel very confident with that they are great and perfect for the character of the car. So this, is it 6 or how many colors? We have 6 colors. Yeah. You can't go wrong with any of them. They are really where we feel that they are very strong and great with this character of the car.
And they're also in the configurator. You can choose certain colors with certain interior colors, and others are not able to be combined. So whatever you choose, you know that it's going to be a really nice curated combination. So don't worry that you're choosing the wrong combo. That will not. We won't allow that to happen.
Because you hate the gray with the beige, I see.
Sorry?
You don't like the gray with the beige.
No, that will not.
Down here.
Fantastic. Wonderful. Yeah, down here maybe.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you've got to turn around and watch though. Cause
it's coming.
Yeah. My question is related to battery management. To what extent will the car's battery management will it be possible to modify it according to the development of user data based on the actual use over the kilometers of the various cars?
Let's try to answer. First of all, so the battery management system is not possible to modify it from a customer point of view. So, if we have the possibility to learn more in the future, based on data from test vehicles and customer vehicles, yes, that's true. And we probably will, since we are a startup company, we will learn over the years. That is possible, but it is not possible to modify any of the BMS from a customer point of view.
Perfect. I guess that's one of the...
and we will do. We will learn.
One of the values of over-the-air updates. Okay, I'm acutely aware of time here. Have we got one question from the gang online?
Oh,
where's that?
There's one up there.
Another.
Oh, we've got one more in the house. Okay. Okay.
Yes, hello.
Hey.
I'm just curious about tire noise. Tesla Model 3 has a big issue. Everybody complains about tire noise in the cabin, and electric cars being super quiet to begin with. What kind of insulation do you have, and is there any active noise reduction in the cabin?
Well, one element that we explained in the online reveal, that actually we had the positive surprise and the greatest that the battery itself is actually adding a lot to the noise reduction. It is designed and constructed that way that the mass that there is with the battery is very helpful in cancelling noise. But of course, in an engine silent car, the tire noise becomes suddenly the one noise you realize. Generally, it is, of course, a very silent car. And since it is a very silent car, we paid a lot of attention to dampen it. Having said that, of course, the one noise that you will then realize is tire noise, but it is as good as it can be in that class of car taken care of.
Well, it's also dependent on the size of rims, the wheel size, the rim size that you choose. So the bigger that gets, the noisier it potentially gets. But we know, and I know that from the process, designing and working on that car, that we are always extremely strict on NVH, as we call it, the noise and the vibration of the car. So this car will be one of the quietest electric cars you will find out there.
Very good. Thank you very much. And I'll be a rude Norwegian and squeeze in one more quick question. What's the point? What's the point of a gear shifter in a electric car when Cadillac in the 50s had push buttons? All you need is 3 or 4 buttons: drive, neutral, reverse. You know.
Yeah, but that is what it is. I mean, of course, it's not selecting gear 1, 2, or 3 anymore. It is, let's face it, it is doing exactly what you described, switching between rear, neutral, and it's of course a question, how do you execute it? And I have to say, instead of pushing a button, I found it very satisfying to use that little lever that there is. And then, to be completely honest, if we had had a totally open and empty car, then it would have been silly to build that big console and put a gear lever on it, or whatever you want to call it. But since, as we described, to put a 78 kilowatt-hour battery into this quite compact low car, we have batteries in the tunnel, so there is a tunnel. And then, since there is, come on, make it that kind of useful thing where you put the gear, the selector for it on. And of course, it is a misleading word because it's not that old-fashioned gear. It is a very modern switch for you to choose between reverse and driving normal.
Thank you.
But you don't have a start button.
Oh yeah, true. We've got that.
Yeah.
That's how modern we are.
Can I also add one thing in that area maybe that it's not really a gear selector, but we have settings regarding rear end braking and one pedal drive, and of course that's a personal. Some people like freewheeling or a lot of rear end. I personally like rear end, and the level we have on the rear end level is something that when you have a chance to test drive this car, it's a fantastic feature we have, and it's a really new experience, and that I hope you will get chance to test as soon as we have cars on the road. It's a fantastic way.
Hans and myself, we were really fighting for that one pedal feel, so that you really can almost forget about the brake pedal. You can use that. But of course, you can change it. If you do not like that, you can, of course, change it to a much more freewheeling situation.
Great. Let's go to the online question. Where's that coming from? Okay, could we get the microphone in that direction?
I think this is working. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, could you mention anything about the subscription service?
Give me what? Sorry, the
subscription service.
Yes. So as I mentioned in the earlier on, a flexible range of packages. What we're looking at. The final remaining piece is to be able to put insurance into the private leasing offers, and that hopefully will be secured in the next 2 months as well, ahead of any cars being delivered. And then that will be the final piece that will mean effectively you can have one monthly payment for the vehicle, and that would include the vehicle insurance. So then, and on top of that, as I mentioned, in the future, we'll be looking to build an even further flexibility into the packaging, whether that's additional loan cars or winter tyres or roof boxes. These are all things that we're going to look at as additional extra provisions that you can look at within the subscription. We're working on those. They could be a while until they're available, because we need to get up and running as a business and have cars and have our spaces in place. But building that flexibility is very key. And yes, so hopefully in the next month or so we'll be able to confirm subscription.
Perfect. Thank you. Well, it gives me great pleasure to, I guess, draw this evening to a bit of a close. Thank you to the gang, but mostly thank you. We really appreciate your support. We really appreciate your belief in us and our brand and our product, and we really appreciate that support. Now, the car is still out the front, so there is still a selfie opportunity as you make your way out. But thank you ever so much, and have a great evening. To the guys online, thank you so much.
Thank you.